In a distant African village, there lived Kamau, an elderly sage known as the last of the guardians of secrets. These guardians had preserved sacred knowledge passed down through generations to maintain the balance between the human and spiritual worlds. Kamau was revered and often consulted for his wisdom, but in recent times, he spoke only of a disturbing prophecy, the arrival of a curse of selfishness that would destroy the harmony of the community. He warned that if the villagers forgot their roots and embraced selfishness, they would face misery. Many young villagers dismissed his warnings, labeling them as outdated tales. Yet, others feared the prophecy's implications. Matters worsened when the sacred tree, a symbol of life and prosperity for the village, began to wither inexplicably. For centuries, it had stood as a spiritual and ecological pillar, but now its leaves were falling. Animals were abandoning its branches, and its decay was unmistakable. Kamau insisted the tree reflected the soul of the community. The more they strayed from tradition and grew selfish, the more the tree suffered, and so would their future. The village chief and many young people mocked Kamau, dismissing his words as mere superstition. They argued that the tree was just a symbol and that hard work and trade could solve their problems. Meanwhile, the village began to fracture. Some sided with Kamau, listening to his stories and offering rituals to the tree in an attempt to restore their spiritual connection. Others focused on accumulating wealth, trading with distant cities, and prioritizing their individual interests. The internal crisis deepened. Conflicts, thefts, and distrust plagued the community. The division fulfilled Kamau's dire warnings. At last, he called everyone to gather beneath the sacred tree, urging reconciliation. "This tree is our collective soul," he pleaded. "If we do not recover our respect and unity, we will perish alongside it." Yet, disagreements erupted into loud arguments. Amid the chaos, a thunderclap echoed, and a dark cloud descended over the tree. Kamau, with sorrow in his voice, declared that the curse had awakened. That night, the sacred tree collapsed before everyone's eyes, leaving a gaping void in the ground and in their hearts. Its fall was a turning point. The villagers, finally recognizing their mistakes, began to rebuild their community, based on the empathy and unity Kamau had always championed. Though the journey was difficult, their efforts were sincere. In time, the sacred tree began to sprout anew, symbolizing the transformation of the community. Its revival reflected their collective change and their return to shared values. The prophecy ceased to be a warning and became a lasting lesson, guiding the village for generations to come.